How is everybody doing this beautiful Friday? I was gonna say fine Friday, and I said Friday. I said fine Friday. Woo! Okay, so yeah, impromptu, somewhat. I mean, I scheduled it early. uh, yeah, I had a video for you guys, but it got copyrighted, and YouTube is giving me a hard time. So yeah, how you like them apples? So I thought I'd do a quick live with y'all. It's not gonna be a long one today, but I wanted to not it's free for all Friday, so we're just gonna do whatever. But I didn't want to not put something out since it was scheduled. I hate letting you guys down. So I have no plan, but I also cannot do any reactions. So because again, like I said, YouTube is YouTubing, and I'm having an issue with my YouTube Premium, and I don't know if you guys have been on YouTube a lot the last couple of weeks, but ads have been going insane. Like I can't watch anything for longer than a minute without getting an ad. I'm not going to do that to you guys. So, but if you guys have any other suggestions, let me know. But I have an idea. I have a couple things that I was going to talk about on Tuesday, so we can talk about them today, or we can just shoot the shit. It's Friday afternoon. I don't know if anyone is working. I'm not working. Oh, I'm working, but not, the job that actually pays me. Uh, but if you guys are working, let me know if you're working or you're home or what's going on. Let's see who we got though. Disco's here, of course, because he's awesome. Manny's here as well, of course, because awesome. And Diana's here, of course. Awesome. You guys are awesome, awesome, awesome. I could say something besides awesome, probably. But, and how would you know I was American? Oh, the lighting's all weird and stuff this time of day. I got the sun coming in from the window. It's all dark over there. Weird. All right. Anyway, what's up, Annie? Diane, what's happening on today's live? Very little. Well, I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. There's no plan. This is even worse than Tuesdays, where I have a plan and you guys derail me. We'll figure it out. I mean, I have an idea. Mandy needs her followers, Fox. I don't know what that means. But fixed. My followers. I needed my disco fix. No, I did. I needed a fix. I like doing lives. I would really like to do lives more often, to be honest with you. I mean, I was considering for a little while expanding into Twitch, and I know I can do it like simultaneously with this, but I think I got to pay a fee. I was playing around with it for a little while, but it wasn't working the way I wanted it to. Sorry, my playback the comments aren't coming up on my playback, so I see them on my laptop, but not my playback. Oh, there we go. And I just I don't know. I just didn't have time to figure out what the problem was, and so much other stuff was going on. So let me just tell you some of the stuff that's been going on that's been inundating me in the past couple months behind the scenes. The channel has been seeing some really good success, has been really growing a lot in the last 6 months or so, which is fabulous. With that has come a barrage of solicitors that want to do thumbnails and editing and all that kind of stuff. So I've been navigating through that because I have been thinking of outsourcing some of that. And some of it's spam and stuff too. So you got to be really careful. But also, I've had some people reach out to do collabs and some brands reach out to do some things. But I'm very reluctant to participate. The collabs I'm okay with for the most part, but, we're still in, like, the pre-planning behind the scenes stages in those, but, it takes work. But, the branding stuff, I'm really, really reluctant to, like, do because I don't wanna do something just to make money. I mean, it would be great to make more money, but I don't wanna do something that's not really in line with what we're trying to do with this channel. We're trying to motivate people, to give people inspiration to change their lives. We're talking about, stuff happening in the world. We're talking about culture clashes between 2 specific countries, 2 America and the UK. Um, and we're trying to honor, everyday heroes and heroes that protect us and keep us safe and all of that. So, I don't wanna do something that's not in line with that mission statement, right? With that objective. So, it's really been doing I wanna do a lot of research, and I wanna make sure it's the right thing, and to be honest, nothing's really panned out that much for it. But it's been taking a lot of extra time, a lot of my free time. And then I'm trying to revamp the website because there's a bunch of other things that I wanna add to it and, do with it, but I have no idea what I'm doing, and I've been trying to find someone to help me kind of facilitate that as well. So it's been and on top of, like, working full time, having our regular streams and videos, schedules, and, some other projects that keep popping into my head that I wanna do that I just have to, flush through and figure out how we're gonna execute them and all that kinda stuff. It's hard being a one-person business. It's difficult. Plus, family and all that stuff too. You gotta make time for myself and everything. But it's good they're good problems to have. I am not complaining at all. It's just everything's taking a lot more energy and a lot more time than I wish it would. Part of that's me because I don't wanna wait, right? That's how I am. But anyways, that is to catch you guys up. That's what's been happening so much behind the scenes, and that's why silly things like, the YouTube thing, not being able to figure out my YouTube premium non-ad stuff and all that seems to fall to the wayside because it's not as big a priority as some of the other stuff that's already in the works. I will and also I'm planning this the 12-hour live stream fundraiser, which will be happening in September, and that's a lot of work behind the scenes as well. So, there's a lot of like, it's a lot of tidbits, some legal stuff, some, specifics. I gotta get it's gonna be all reacts, so I gotta get a lot of permissions because I don't wanna do things without people's permission, and so it's a lot of work as well. See what I do for you guys? Oh, and just to let you all know, this is usually my nap time. Okay, usually on Friday afternoons because I get out of work early, I come home and I have some Mandy time and I have a little nap to catch up and I do some work. Usually I have a nap first and then do some work. But I couldn't today because I had to get ready for you guys. So I'm just saying I might be a little bit extra silly because I'm tired. And this is the stuff that I do for you guys. I give up my nap time for you, which anyone who has known me for longer than 5 minutes knows how important nap time is to me. I get very cranky when I don't get my naps. Anyways, that's the way it is right now. It is what it is. I actually don't like that expression at all, but someone said it to me today and it's in my head for some reason. Anyway, Diane said she's home. Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with us, Diane. Appreciate it. I don't want to get anyone in trouble if you are working, so it's not on me. I told them to go back to work. If any bosses are catching this. Right, Manny? Like, it seems like they did a revamp in the middle of the month or earlier in the month, sometime this month. And since they did this revamp thing, it's been like wall to wall ads. It's insane. I don't like I appreciate the ad revenue because obviously it keeps the channel going and everything, but it, I have to look into I think I can manually place ads, but I know there's a minimum I have to hit. So, in order to stay monetized and stuff, I'm pretty sure that's what I read back in the day. So I have to do some more research and look into that and see if I can, like, manually place them so it's not, like, ridiculous. As a consumer, as a content consumer, I'm annoyed with it, so I don't want people, like, being turned off of my stuff and the things we're doing here and all the wonderful stories and comments that you guys bring to the table because, you know, ads are out of control because YouTube's greedy. Google's greedy. Probably get fired now, but yeah, I know it's typical American to say awesome a lot. I can't help it. Hi, Marja. Thank you for joining. We can chat about whatever you feel like chatting about. You did miss the last live. We are live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. For those of you who might be joining us are new, or maybe you're catching us later. Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. UK time, we are always live. It's the next show will be better. Today is just a random live, but that is always planned. But all the plans that I made for the last few weeks have always gotten derailed because we got caught up in the chat. But yeah, Diane, and some of the notifications haven't been going out as well, I've noticed. Because my notifications for other YouTubers isn't coming up. And I've had people tell me, oh, I didn't get the notification that you were live. So with that said, if you could like the stream and if you could share it, so that people who are in our community know that we're live, because it's a random impromptu special one, I would appreciate that. Thank you. Anyways. But we're always happy to have you if you can make it, Diane. If you can't, we understand. Life happens. Manny says I'm technically working from home. I remember those days. I miss those days. I really, really miss those days. I think part of the reason I'm struggling so much with work here is that I've worked from home for so long and I got very used to it. And I had kind of a rhythm and how I would take my breaks and my eating schedule and all of that kind of stuff, which of course got disrupted when we were moving. But my brain and body are in work mode, and I think it's all still expecting it to be what it was. And it's not, obviously. I have to go into the office and it's just I'm missing the solitude. I'm missing having just like a break from bullshit. I was trying to figure out a way to say it without cursing, but away from the BS. Basically, I'm just the office politics and the people who go there to socialize that I think are suspect. I think if you go to work to socialize, I don't have a problem with people who enjoy the socializing while they're in work, but people who like get out of the house because they don't have social lives outside of work, I think that's suspect. Like, I think there's something wrong if you can't have a life outside of work or a life without the people that you work with, right? Even if you're hanging out outside of work. I mean, everybody has their friends and has the people they have lunch with or whatever, but if you can't plan your weekends until you know what people at work are doing and stuff, that's weird. That's suspect to me. There's a lot of that in this office. I just like I'm just not I haven't missed the office BS and I get caught up in it. And I'm trying really hard not to get caught up in it, and then I get called out as if I'm being like not a team player and I don't want to socialize and all that and I don't care and stuff like that. So it's starting to get it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating because I want it my way. Okay? I want it my way. But it does motivate me to get this channel and the website and this other stuff that's what I'm working on behind the scenes going, because I'm like, every step that I take towards those projects being launched and all of that stuff is a step away from going into the office. And it's a step towards working for myself, or, at least working from home. So it's got to work. Like I don't have a choice, because if I do this for the next couple of years, I might impale myself. So, so I'm very, all that to say, I'm very, very jealous of you, Manny. It's an extremely long-winded way to say it. And I wish I was home. I wish I was working from home on a regular basis too. Anyways, yes, definitely an emphasis on the technically. I don't want to get you in trouble though, Manny. So I just want you to know that. Oh, Manny, you are so sweet with that comment. Thank you. That's very sweet. It is a bonus for me too. It's great. It's great to get to see you guys more than once a week. Stephen Kelly's here. Woohoo! Glad to have you. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Yes, Marcia, I like to keep myself busy. I really need to sit down with like a business planner or someone who knows a little bit more about the kind of like macro view of the business side of it, because I know a bunch of stuff from just being around it and my research and everything, but I need to figure out how to organize it and how to schedule it out, like, because I want all the projects to be done now and at once and just go, right? And everything should be coming in and all at once and everything, but it doesn't work that way. You have to kind of plan it out and everything, and I'm struggling with that because I've never had to do it on such a large scale. So I have some skills. I definitely need to expand that skill set. So I've been doing research in my downtime and all that stuff. It's just the way it is. I like being busy, and I like that it's my projects. I like that it's stuff that we're doing for either for the channel or for, the family, and not like I'm overwhelmed with work or anything like that. But I'm used to it. I mean, when I was in school, I went to school full time and I worked a full-time job. And there was one time where I had 3 jobs where I literally like only went home to sleep. So I'm just used to it. I'm used to working a lot and working hard. I'm just used to doing it at my own pace a little bit more, which I've had to adjust being in a new country, which happens. I have Steven's permission. That's all I need. That's all I need. I'm all good now. I get really silly when I'm tired though. My partner is always like, "Oh, I know it's time for her to go to bed because she's getting extra silly and like I get the dad jokes start coming out and everything. I start to be getting super giggly. I think if you guys are able to participate at all in the 12-hour live, that you'll see that, because that's gonna exhaust me. 12 hours of talking. I could probably do it. I'm not saying I couldn't. I might need an enhancer to help. Say New Year's Eve was a trial run. I also want to try to get, like, I'm doing these live streams on my laptop, right? Which my laptop's amazing. I love that I spent good money on it and got a good laptop. But I feel like I could do with a better shot. I don't know. I feel like you can't see me. I don't know. I don't know. Another technical thing I gotta figure out and learn. I'm sure I could probably, like, move it closer or something. I don't know. I don't wanna, like, fill the screen that much, because then I'll like, everyone gets to see how fat I really am. You're such a cheeky person. I did a quick video from my bed a couple weeks ago, and some cheeky kid was like, "Oh, have you gained weight?" I'm like, "Fuck you, it's just a bad angle, bro." Jerk off. I actually got told today that it looks like I lost weight, so I'm still working on it. It's just really hard because I've been stressed and I'm going a mile a minute, and it's hard to eat. It's hard to eat well and keep to a workout schedule when you are don't have a lot of time to like a lot of downtime. And then when you fill your schedule up with other stuff when you're supposed to have your downtime, it doesn't help. I'm just so addicted to you guys. What can I say? Uh Oh, Stephen Kelly says, "I'm at work when I'm self-employed, so I'm giving myself some time off." There you go. I like that. That will be me in 2 years, maybe 3, maybe 3, but hopefully 2 or less if the good vibes fairy sprinkles some dust on my bed. I have no idea where that came from. Oh my gosh. I'm an idiot. Okay. Diane says, "Are you all shocked by the loss of Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan?" I wasn't really shocked by the Ozzy death because he's been sick for a bit and he's been battling a lot his whole life, and so I was kind of like, "Oh, okay, that kind of tracks." Like he's old, like he's up there, he's been around a while and he's had lots of issues and stuff. So I mean, I'm saddened by it because he's a musical icon. I was never really a huge Black Sabbath fan. He was Black Sabbath, right? It was Black Sabbath. I'm pretty sure. I don't know why I'm second guessing myself. You guys are making me nervous. Yeah, it was Black Sabbath. I don't know why. You guys made me nervous for a second. I was like, "Oh, is that wrong?" I don't know why I second guessed myself. Anyways, I was never a huge Black Sabbath fan, but obviously an influential band. Ozzy Osbourne is obviously an icon in music. That whole era of music that he, came up in is my favorite era of music, period. So, uh, you know, it's for me it is a loss, definitely. Plus, I remember watching him on remember it was the Osbournes? I think it was on MTV. I remember watching him at that point with him, his wife, and kids. So and he loved his wife and he loved his kids and, he was a decent guy. So, of course, my heart and condolences go out to everyone involved with that. Hulk Hogan, I mean, I know who he is, and, I was never a big wrestling fan though, but he was an American icon as well. And I knew who he was, but um he's he's a Trump supporter and he spoke at the Republican National Convention in this election to like in favor of voting for Trump. Given my personal value system that does not align with Trump, Uh, I wasn't offended by it or anything, but it just made me kind of question a little bit, his values. But I don't know him, and I don't even know him as a celebrity really that much. I think he has kids too, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he has 2 kids because he had a reality show as well with his family. I think I used to watch that too with my partner. Um, he didn't seem like I mean, like, I don't know anything bad about him. So, I mean, my heart and thoughts go out to his family as well. It's always uncomfortable to lose an icon you grow up with, especially when you get to a certain age and they can start dying off a lot more quickly and frequently. But like you're right, Marsha. Hulk Hogan was young considerably, considering lifespans nowadays. But he like he was physical. He had a physical job for a long ass time. I'm sure that took its toll. But he could afford healthcare, so. But I agree. Big losses as far as icons go. I'm more upset about the Ozzy. I mean, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't surprised by it, but it is still somebody that I somewhat revered for his creativity, for his authenticity. He was a unique person. He was a unique singer. Um, and I think he brought a lot to music in that era. So Hulk Hogan, I'm like, okay. But my daughter's into wrestling now. My daughter watches, like, the modern day wrestling. In fact, every Tuesday when I'm doing the live, that's what they're doing. They're watching wrestling together because my partner used to watch wrestling back in the day. I think he was a Hogan fan. Um, so they watch wrestling now. This is what they do. Well, I'm talking to you guys, which I'd much rather be talking to you guys because I don't know. It's so cheesy to me, and it's so I understand why a little bit why my daughter likes it because the female wrestling genre is coming up, right? It's getting bigger, and she's at that age where drama is, like, king, where that drama is the key to your life, basically. Um, I don't understand why my partner likes it. Or he's just doing it to, like, have a connection with her. He's probably doing it for that. See, I'm being a bitch. I need to just He's spending time with his daughter. I should just shut up and be grateful. I'm so judgmental. I gotta put a lid on that, man. Jeez. Stephen Kelly says that he knew a lot of people that worked with Ozzy but sadly never met him. Oh, do you know? I'm just curious, since you knew people that worked with him, did they say that he was like a good guy or was he a prick? Just curious. Because my impression was that he seemed like a good guy, but you never know for real, do you? Disco says, Mandy, you are working from home here for yourself, though. Yes. And it would be nice if eventually, someday, I don't have to do both. That's all I'm asking. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, it will happen. It's just a matter of, timing. And I'm just an impatient person. Stephen Kelly also said, but thank you for the encouragement, Disco, and all the work that you do to help this channel as well. Big, big shout out to Disco. Stephen Kelly says, bullshit isn't cursing. Go take a flying focus to yourself might be. I don't know what that means, but it's funny as hell. Go take a flying focus to yourself. If you know, you know. I'm not going to share this just in case it's something. I think I know what it is. Oh, no. Okay. I don't know what it is then. It's a funny fucking saying though. Oh, I just cursed. You guys have no idea how much I curse in real life. Like in real life, when I'm tired and drunk, it comes out, bro. I really don't know what it means, but now I'm so curious. Okay. Disco says, one of my jobs, other staff would go on holiday to Spain as a big group. Yucks. I don't know what that means either. I don't know what's going on. And then Stephen Kelly says, loads of unwanted kids. Ha ha. No clue. Manny says office politics and the lack of good city management is why me and 15 others said F off to the job center back in June 2016. Don't regret it one bit. Yeah, I it took so long for me to be able to find a work from home position that I was comfortable with, and I gave it up to move here, basically, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I forgot until I started working here again, I forgot how awful office politics is and how people just wanna, like, know everything about you and don't wanna respect your boundaries at all, and I'm finding that a lot of people in management here are the same way and don't wanna accept that things like mental health and that's not what I signed up for are good enough excuses to say no or to work from home. Like, it is the fact that my contract says that I only work a certain number of hours a week should be more than enough for me to not check in before or after my time. Like, I shouldn't and be able to take my lunch and not heaven forbid that I take my lunch in the cafeteria because then I have people interrupting my lunch to ask me questions at work, like, about work. I'm at lunch. It's a break. It's supposed to be a break. Give me a break. Anyway, and then I'm coming from when you're working from home, you can stop and eat anytime you want, no one interrupting you. I mean, I used to take my like, because I would cook because I was home, so I used to, like, take my laptop into the kitchen and, check my emails or whatever, wait for a report to run, whatever, while I was cooking. And then I would, like, turn it off for my while I was eating and then go take a nap and then just come back in an hour. Diane says, "I worked for the civil service for 27 years, so I know what you mean." Yeah, 27 years. It's a long time. I don't know anybody that has worked that long at a job anymore. I worked at one job. The longest I worked at one in with one company because I changed positions within a company, but it was 12 years that I was with one company. And a lot of people worked 20 or so years for that company. It was a company that had grown a lot in the decade or so that I worked there. And so there was a lot of people that were like there from the beginning and stuff. But that was the only company I worked for that had where people had been there for that long, for a very long time. I don't know that anyone does that anymore, Diane. Because there's no like you don't get there's no incentive for it. You don't really get anything for being somewhere for a long time anymore, except more work and more responsibility with very little extra pay. Like if you're not compensated appropriately any longer, from my experience anyway, and conversations with people and stuff. So it used to be, you go to a job, you work there 25, 30 years, and you get a really good pension and all that kind of stuff. You just don't anymore. So I don't know what it's like here. Obviously, I'm still learning, but I'm getting the vibe that a lot of companies seem to be copying some American practices, which I think is shit. Don't do that. You shouldn't be copying anything American at this point in time, okay? You wanna go back and see some best practices that we used to do? Go for it. But at this point in time, there's very little that is worth copying from the United States right now, okay? I'm just saying, they're privatizing everything. They're spending all of public money on crap that we don't need, and they're basically just running amok. Like, they're just running crazy. It's insane. Everything's falling apart. Nobody has any help. None of the citizen stuff is taken care of. It's a mess. Don't fucking copy anything that's going on in America right now. It is unless the only reason to do it is if you're like a rich person that wants more money. But the average person, the average working person never gets taken care of in those systems. The poor people don't get taken care of in those systems. There's so many homeless people throughout the US right now. They just made more cuts to like Medicare and Medicaid, which is basically medical insurance assistance for people who can't afford it on their own. People are going to die because they wanted more tanks or something. I don't know. Anyway, but good on you, Diane, for working for someone for 27 years and being able to survive it. I think that is a feat of strength by far, and I am jealous. Additional host for 12 hours? Maybe. I'm kicking the idea around. I have a list of people I might approach for it. So, like I said, it's a lot of work. I would like to break it up a little bit because I think that I'm gonna need jolts of energy. So I'm planning it and I'm trying to break it out, So it's not as monotonous as just sitting there listening to me talk about reactions and reacting to stuff, because here's what's going to happen. I know I could conceivably do that, but I know what'll happen is by like I would say probably halfway through, like 6 or 7, maybe even 8, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, that's funny. You know what I mean? So I have to break it up somehow. And I'm going to need some help because, I'm going to have to eat and use facilities and things like that in those 12 hours as well. So I'm going to need help. But it's a good idea, Disco. Maybe behind the scenes we can I could task you with something. Because, that's what you signed up for, to be my personal assistant. See, don't get caught up with the likes of me. I'll take advantage. I'm just like every other boss. I'm just kidding. I'm not Disco's boss. He volunteers for this, and I appreciate it. Stephen Kelly says, I was a civil servant too, Diane, but only for 5 years. I can't say which department. It's a secret. Intriguing. Mm-hmm. Manny says, I'm glad you do, Diane. It just got too toxic in the end. It's a shame because in the early years, working the civil service was great. I took a diversion and now work in mental health with Mind. What's Mind? That's a... Do they do online? Do they do like online? Let's check it out. Mind. I don't know why I said it like that. About us. Here we go. What we do. We are made up of 3 parts that work together: national minds, local minds, and mind shops. Together, we're a strong and caring community standing up for better mental health for everyone. I could share this with y'all, but I don't know if Manny wants you to see it. So they say it's a mental health program. You guys do stuff online, right? I think I've seen ads for it. Local minds are independent charities that help people with their mental health. Each local mind offers different services based on what the local people need. This can include things like counseling and support from others with similar experiences. Interesting. I like that. That's a good it seems like a good organization, but I'm sure you can tell me if it really is or not. Interesting. I might reach out to you about something. I think it was like that in America as well. When you like a government job, going back to the fact that it got really toxic and stuff, as Manny and Diane were saying, A government job in America as well, I think, like, in the '60s and even the early '70s was, like, considered a great job if you can get in the government sector and, if you could work in the public sector and you were taken care of, you got more time off, you got better pensions, all that kinda stuff, better benefits. Um, Now it's shit. It's shit. You're the first to get laid off. I mean, you got someone like Elon Musk, like, randomly making cuts to government programs and government workers and staff. Um, and there's lots of different level I'm sure I know there's different levels here in the UK, but there's, like, probably 3 or 4 times as many in America. There's federal levels, there's, state levels, there's county levels, then there's local levels. So it just depends on what level you're at as well and where you are with, if you're in a state that has money or not and what position you're in. But yeah, I've heard it's just shit now too, even in America, civil service and public sector jobs. Unless you're like not I was gonna say unless you're like in like construction and rebuilding and stuff, but not even that anymore because a lot of that's being outsourced to private companies in America, or at least like partnered somehow. So, hmm. But I mean, Diane obviously had a good experience, so that's fantastic, and we need people that are enthusiastic and are having good experiences in those jobs. Most importantly, like, public service is the most important job in the world, in my opinion, other than being a parent. So, like, if you're working for a public service and that's a extremely important job, and it's definitely not valued as much as it should be, unless it's like prime minister or something. Anatoly has a good workout and nutrition. He's amazing. I don't know Anatoly, Marsha. Can you send me a link? If you can't do it in the chat because YouTube's acting up, you email it to me at hicksondiaries@gmail.com. I'll check it out. We had someone else uh, who's they used to be able to join live, but they don't do lives that much. They don't join us live that much anymore. But she does comment a lot still. Bex does used to do she doesn't do it that much anymore. She used to do online workouts and stuff. And I know she has a gym, but it's like near Oxford or something. So obviously for me it doesn't make sense. Um, but I do look up her workouts every once in a while when I need to change it up. I do kind of my own workout for my own. I don't like going to the gym again because I miss the solitude and everything. So I like working out in solitude. And uh I have like a couple little small weights and stuff, and I do some of that stuff at home. I used to work out a lot in high school and stuff, so I have a bunch of exercises that I used to do all the time then that I've just modified a little bit because I'm old now and not everything works the same. Flexi time. Yeah, like, wouldn't it be great if I was able say I worked 40 hours a week and I was able to, with my schedule, work 10-hour days, 4 days a week. Why can I not do that? Like, why can I not make my own schedule? I know it's a little bit different than flexi time, 'cause flexi time is like, oh, you work extra hours this day, you take that time off, which I kinda have a little bit. That's how I get Friday afternoons off, but also the plant closes early on Fridays, so I don't really have a choice. I have to do it like this. But, like, why can't we make our own schedule? Why do we have to be in the office at certain times of day? I don't work on the factory floor. I don't visit clients. I don't have visitors or customers coming in on a regular basis. I sit in front of a computer. First of all, I can do that at home. And secondly, so I don't know why I have to come into the office at all. And secondly, why do I have to come in an office from this time to this time? Why can't I come in at a different time, or why can't I just think that it's so the we still work in a factory dictated system. right? Like it was originated during the Industrial Revolution, where people needed to be at the factories, people needed to be on the lines, and that's how we get these, the standard work hours and the standard work week. Obviously, it's much better in a lot of ways because you actually get time off and all that kind of stuff, and obviously it's better here in the UK than it is in the US, but you don't it's the 21st century, you don't need to be in the office. COVID proved that. What is the problem? It's all about control. It's not about being productive or anything. And that's the frustrating part is I know it's not about that. I was so much more productive when I was home. Cause I could take my breaks whenever I wanted. I had my solitude. I could play my music. I could watch TV or something in the background while I was working. I was in my own space. I didn't have to shower if I didn't want to, right? Like if I was running late, like I didn't have to be stressed and nervous about traffic or getting to work on time or any of that BS. Like I could just get up, open my laptop, and have my breakfast while I was working, which I do now while I eat on the train now, but which I did when I went into the office. I would eat at my desk, my breakfast and lunch at my desk. And the only reason I ate lunch at my desk was so people left me alone. They thought I was working. Because then again, they'd want to either have a chat with me or sit down and eat with me at lunch if I was in the cafeteria. So I just started eating at my desk and just pretending like I was working. So no one bothered me. Anyway. Marcia says that the band Black Sabbath was originally called Earth. I wonder why they changed it, because Black Sabbath is pretty unique. Earth. Does it have anything to do with Earth, Wind, and Fire? Probably not. I'm just being silly now. Stephen Kelly says in 1982, we weren't allowed to listen to Black Sabbath or Judas Priest. It was a seminary. Or they were considered what is it called? Oh my God. Atheist keeps coming in my mind, but I know that's not it. Sacrilege. Jesus. They were considered sacrilege, right? Manny says we could build so much flexi time, but it was great as we didn't have to eat into our annual leave allowance, which again was decent. Yeah, I remember. See, now you're reminding me. I did know someone that worked somewhere for a long time. My dad worked at his job before he retired for. I don't remember, but it's probably like 18 years, something like a long time, mainly because he just doesn't like change. But because he didn't like it, he hated it and complained about it all the time, but he stayed there. Um, and by the end, he got a shit ton of vacation time. And I remember he would just take days off because he just didn't want to wake up. He always had he was able to rack up a lot of time because he had been there for so long. And obviously my mom didn't have as much time, so he would, take a bunch of time off that he would just sleep. That might be where I get it from. Bull Hogan also mocked Trump. You meant Hulk Hogan, I'm assuming. Yeah, you meant Hulk Hogan, okay. He's an interesting guy. I don't know why he was randomly selected to be at the RNC, which is the conservative convention, I guess it's called. The Conservative Party convention for the presidential election. It's complicated. I know, Disco, you're ancient. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but to your point, Disco, that's kind of what what I was talking about is, like, you get to a certain age and everybody starts going. So you get to an age and all the people that you grew up watching or listening to or idolizing start to drop off, and then within a couple years, it's like people you went to high school with, people that you knew, you know, in certain aspect of your life, and you're like, "Damn, I'm old." Diane says that flexi time was great, but they were talking about restricting it when I was made redundant. Yeah, see, that's the problem. All the good stuff, things like flexi time, things like good pensions that you didn't have to pay into, which you don't I mean, you do pay into here, but it's a better system than we have in America because you only private pensions in America that play on the stock market. And the company doesn't have to, like, give you any money towards it. Uh, things like that, things like, 35-hour work weeks instead of 45-hour work weeks, things like, not being expected to be on your computer after hours or accessible after hours or working through lunch. They just don't like company parties, office parties, and that kind of stuff. It's just they don't take care of their workers in today's world anymore, and then they don't pay them properly. People struggle, and they get angry because they're frustrated and they're worried and they're scared and they're concerned that their children are gonna have a shit time or whatever, or they're gonna end up losing their job and being like 55 and no one will hire them and no one's going to take care of them and then the government's like, what do you mean, why are you mad at us, how come you don't want us to do this, or how come you're rioting, or how come you're protesting, and I don't agree with rioting in a violent sense by any means, but agree with protesting. Like, you what else are we going to do as normal people that are trying to survive the world? We're just trying to put food on the table and make sure our kids are safe, and basically want to fight us at every turn. It is better here in the UK than it is in the US, but I do see some things getting modeled, some talking points that are getting used that we used in, not we as in me, but that Americans have used in certain instances in America to defend or defame or take down something in America that they didn't agree with or didn't align with their pocketbook, and it's being used here as like just the privatization of things is a perfect example of, you can't privatize stuff. It doesn't work because it's always for profit, and the first thing that's going to get cut is labor, and then the next thing that's going to get cut is benefits, because their bottom line is all they care about when it's private. That's why there's public programs. That's the whole reason. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Let's move along. Disco says, "I can't stand WWE. I had an old teacher who was a wrestler, British old school." Yeah, I think it's just silly. Like, if you're gonna be a storyteller, you're gonna be it's art in its own right because it's performing at the end of the day, and I like that nowadays they acknowledge that it's a performance, whereas back in the day, they didn't even acknowledge. They were like, "No, it's real." It's not real. Um I'm not saying that it's still physical, but it still takes a lot out of you and it takes its toll on your body, but and it is you have to be somewhat of an athlete to do it by far. Like, I couldn't wrestle. Um, but yeah, it was all cheesy and it's hokey, and I don't know. I could never get behind it either. Stephen Kelly says, "All the people that I know that met Ozzy said the same thing. Utter fruitcake, but a gentleman." Aw. That was kind of what I got from him. I think when you reach a certain level of financial success and notoriety in life, I think kind of automatically become a fruitcake. Not necessarily in the Ozzy Osbourne sense, but hear me out. More like that you you just achieve a certain level of not having to worry about day-to-day stuff anymore. It's probably a little bit different from people who were like normal, average, common people that achieved that, because you always remember, right? It stays with you most of the time, the trauma of it or whatever does. But as more so than someone who's like born into that situation. But there's just a disconnect there to real life, I think, at a certain point. Not to diminish that their problems aren't real problems or anything like that. They're just really different problems, aren't they? They're first world problems compared to third world problems that everyday people have, like feeding people, like feeding your child and all that. I'm not gonna stop fucking swearing, Steven, because I fucking love it. Steven says he left the civil service in 1989. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, I'm not that old. Okay. Hi, Sam. Sam K's with us, everybody. Thank you for joining, Sam. I appreciate you taking the time. Stephen Kelly says he's been doing his job full time for 36 years. It's a long ass time. Obviously, you're doing a very good job. Stay with it. Neil Morrison, Bill Slim's fan club. Interesting handle. Is joining us. Hi, just popped in to say hi. Thank you so much for saying hi. I don't think that you have been with us on a live before, but do correct me if I am wrong. I don't think I've even seen a comment from you because I think I would remember that handle. But I'm glad that you're with us, and I appreciate you taking the time on this Friday afternoon. Manny says, I remember my former colleagues at Job Center Plus telling me that a lot of them have done 20 to 30 years service, as some of them joined the benefits agency when they left school at 16 or 17. Damn. Spent your whole life there, basically. It's so weird, right? Because nowadays, like millennials and Gen Zs that work are talking about like you shouldn't stay in a job longer than 2 years because the reasons they said, if I'm remembering the article correctly, I am doing it from memory, so don't quote me, but I believe it's because you get better raises and you can negotiate your benefits better. Obviously, this was an American article. You can negotiate your benefits better and you often get your promotions faster because you're changing companies, but you've already proven that you can do the work and that you're ready to move up to the next level per your resume, of course. Disco says employers used to be great in the UK, but now it's crap. I've always treated people as I like to be treated when I ran my own business. Okay, I did not know you ran your own business, but I'm not surprised. Yeah, I think the key takeaway that I have from corporate life, both America and the UK, because I've never worked in the public life, so that's what I'm working on, and I've worked in service. But from corporate life is exactly what kind of boss or business owner to not be. Like I have been lucky that I've had one boss that I absolutely adored, and I had one manager who was pretty cool. But other than that, I've had terrible managers. Most of them have been pretty middle of the road, like meh. Like they don't really do anything extra for the average corporate mid-level management. And the one I really, really loved was actually an executive, so I should probably tell you something. So I know I have some good practices to take from, and definitely have a ton of don't ever do that. Anyway, if I'm ever lucky enough for anyone to work for me, or to ever have a team at my disposal again. When I was supervising a team in America, I loved it because I didn't have to do much. I just had to run a bunch of reports. I had to make sure that I was having conversations when things didn't look right, and step in every once in a while when things weren't going well. I loved it. Like, you don't have to do much. I don't understand why mid-management is miserable. I was just a supervisor. I wasn't a manager, but I was like, but I did all like the timesheets and all that stuff. So I was like, not hard. Like, what's the problem? Why are you so miserable? But I also, I didn't care. Like, I had a good rapport with my immediate, but I wasn't worried, and they knew I wasn't worried about impressing. I was just like, I'll do this job, but like, you're giving it to me, but I'm not gonna do like 100,000 other hours or anything on top of it. Just FYI. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Marja says the UK can't help but follow the US, but we can still change. That's what I'm saying, Marja. There's still time for the UK. There's still hope for the UK. I feel like the US is at has already passed the point of no return where they can get better. Don't get me wrong. The country is going to revamp at some point, but I fear that it's going to be something devastating, either violent or devastating economically, or like a devastating natural disaster. And that's going to hurt a lot of people, and lots of people are going to die, and it's just going to be negative for a lot of people. And I don't want that to happen, but I don't know that we have a lot of recourse in the US otherwise. But there's tons of recourse in the UK. You guys have, as workers and as common public, your system is set up completely different, and you have a lot more say and a lot more influence to change things. So just use your power. I can't do anything right now. I can't help you, but I can point you at least away from the fire. At least away from where it's going to be shit. I don't know exactly which path to take because I'm not as familiar, but I know you don't want to go that way. I think you do, Manny. You have time to change. You will. Oh, Sam K, YouTube keeps displaying errors and deleting my messages. I don't know what's going on, Sam. Has anyone else had issues with deleting messages on the stream? Are you talking about on the stream? I'm assuming you are. Has anyone else had that issue? I haven't seen anything. Maybe Disco doesn't like you. But I think you mentioned that before, though. Stephen Kelly, but wasn't such an ugly, fat, hairy bastard, I'd be doing OnlyFans. First of all, I'm sure you're not like that. Second of all, people like what they like. And don't ever discount yourself. And third, I know people that work on OnlyFans, and they said it's actually shit. Like it's basically private porn. That's what they said. And it can be actually, it's not like, I know one person who's fine with it, and they're very confident in themselves and everything. But I know some other people that have struggled because they get requests that are, in my eyes, unreasonable to ask someone to do. But I think they have other things on there besides porn, but not much. I've often said, like, maybe I should start photographing feet or something and put them up there and see what happens. Neil says that they learned in the last few weeks that research groups for Parkinson's disease being broken up in the USA due to fund stopping. Some of the research are coming to Scotland. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have heard that as well, and I don't think it's just exclusive to Parkinson's disease either. But there's a lot of funding being pulled for public programs and research and stuff like that, not just within the US, but internationally, like stuff that we fund for AIDS research and vaccines and treatments and stuff like that in countries in Africa and the Middle East and in South America. So a lot of that stuff's getting pulled. So there's opportunity for all the other nations to invest and really like become, use those strongholds because there's also a mass exodus from America right now. It's part of the reason why we left is we kind of saw the writing on the wall and were worried that it was going to come to something like this. And we didn't want to wait. Like we want to like be running around at the last minute trying to get out, right? So that was part of it. I think I've said it on the show a couple times. There's a lot of factors. That was one of them, though. Yeah, disco. I'm going to take advantage of the free labor as much as I can. Mental health charity. Yeah, I know. I was looking at that, Manny. It looks really good. I swear I've seen ads for it and stuff. I think on YouTube, actually. I help with running mental health groups, especially on Saturday mornings. That's fantastic, Manny. It sounds rewarding. I'd like to do some rewarding work. Yeah, I said it right. Rewarding work. Yeah, it sounded funny. I'd like to do something rewarding and not just like make money for a corporation someday. Disco has a friend that works for mine. Shocking. I also get asked to help co-lead groups in our local area. Manny, you're awesome. That's fantastic that you do that. Thank you. You're right, Stephen Kelly. He is a star and a top man. I have a slight fear of public speaking too, Manny. Ironically, because my first, well, other than like school, my first public speaking job was at the corporate level where I had to do a presentation. I was extremely green. I was like 19, I think. And I had to do this big presentation for like clients. And I was a mess. And I've had like and it didn't go well. And I had a little, I had a little bit of like a trauma experience that I think I carry with me now. Stephen Kelly says I needed a lot of help when that's terrible, Stephen. I'm sorry to hear that. I could imagine. My condolences to you and your family. I wonder which country has the best mental health help. You mean between the US and the UK? SANS, is that another mental health charity, like a mental health group? I'm asking because I'm not familiar. I'm not trying to pry. Look at you, Manny. Oh, I really enjoy what I do, and I'd like to impart what I've learned onto our service users. That's amazing, Manny. That's the kind of like everyone should feel that way about their job. You spend so much time and energy and a resource, personal resource at work. You should get something from it. It shouldn't just be a paycheck. And no one understands that anymore. And in the corporate sector, the private sector, they're awful. They don't give a shit about any of that. Cool, Marja. I'm going to look that up. Thank you for the tip. Sam is really having a hard time. Is anyone else having a hard time right now? Because maybe it's just you, Sam. Maybe you got something shady going on behind the scenes that you're not telling us. Okay, I'm not sure I can pronounce that. Boards at Dagenham used to shut for most of August on top of their leave. Yeah, I got an email from a supplier, the business partner, that they were asking if we're shutting down at all for the summer because of the heat, and I was like, "No, never heard of that." And they're like, "Oh yeah, we shut down for 2 weeks every August because it gets too hot for the warehouse." And I'm like, "I'm gonna go work for you." Are you in the UK? Are you okay, I don't know what that means. Luddite? Neil Morrison, Bill Slim's fan club. Ah, we had flex time in the last job I did before retiring. There was a lot less make work at the end of the day. People would work till they completed their task and even up time over the four weeks of the month, right? Yeah, that makes sense. I think that makes more sense than making someone be in the office if they don't have anything to do. And I think that more people will be incentivized to work like 10 hours when there's a big project or there's a crisis or there's something, it's the end of the month and you have to get your projects in or whatever. More people would be like, "Oh, I'll log on from home to, finish this up or answer these emails since I was working on the project because I get like the time at home. Like I get to go home early when I don't have anything to do. I'm not forced to sit there." It creates a different kind of viewpoint and mentality and connection. I think when you just that's all what people want. All people want is some flexibility so they're able to enjoy their life and they're not feeling like their soul is crushed when they go home. That's all they want. Like most people aren't lazy. Most people don't want to like sit around doing nothing 20 hours a day. Like it's just not in our nature as human beings. So I think people are just pricks. Thank you for the super chat, Sam. You're absolutely right with your comment. Disco is a legend for solo moderating. I I don't know what I would do without him. I can do this on my own because we don't have a huge number of chatters, but it is difficult. I wouldn't be able to do it. It makes my life so much easier having him around. Stephen Kelly says, "Yeah, Neil, I used to go in at 7 a.m. and finish at 6 p.m. just to get some more drinking time. Haven't had booze in 15 years, though." That's what I'm saying. Like, for example, we have a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning that we all have to attend. My day doesn't start till 8 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, the way my training schedule works, I'm in like 5 or 10 minutes early anyway. So I just prep for the meeting the day before. So when I come in, I can just go to the meeting. But like a lot of people will come in at 7:30 so they can like have their coffee and relax or whatever and then like prepare for their meeting and whatnot. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be great if they can come in at 7 and they can leave at 4, whatever time, and then not have to work on Fridays and then just do like a virtual meeting on Fridays instead. Or, maybe not every Friday, maybe not everybody's off on Friday, maybe some people are off on Monday, some people are off on Wednesday, like, I just I just don't see what the big deal is, and I mean, I've had conversations with people who were vehemently opposed to working from home because they couldn't monitor people, and I'm like, "You can monitor them through the computer. Whether they're logged on, what time they logged on, what systems they logged into, what they logged out of, if anything, how many times they were kicked out for inactivity. You can log all that stuff. There's algorithms for everything now. You don't need it. You don't need it." What are you worried that someone might, throw in a load of laundry when they're on their way back from the bathroom, back to their fucking computer, and that you're annoyed about that? Like, come on. So I feel very, very strongly about this subject. Can you tell? I agree with you, Neil. Pub time is important, and it's not about the drinking. It's about taking the time. It's about relaxing, about hanging with some friends, doing something outside your home, that kind of stuff. That's what pub life represents for me, and that's why I love it. Because it forces me to get out of my world for a few minutes, and it puts me in a different setting, a different place. I don't really drink at pubs anyway because can never find anything. They never have wild turkey, and I don't drink beer or ale or any of that stuff either. So, like, I don't really drink anyway. I usually eat because I love pub food. Pub lunches are my favorite. If I could have a pub lunch every day, I would be broke, but it would be good, and I'd have another 100 pounds on me, but it would be worth it. And Neil says, "I use flex time to watch my football team." Yeah, like, you get to do something, so maybe your job isn't, like, enormously fulfilling, like, Manny is very lucky that he's found a job that he really enjoys and really gives back a lot to him. So maybe your job isn't soul crushing, but it's not exactly that. But you have something else outside of work hours that you enjoy, and you can devote more time to it because you have the flexibility to do it, either because you're working from home or you have flexible time or whatever. Like, we're all gonna most at least office workers and factory workers and those types of jobs, they're all gonna be replaced by AI in the next, like, decade or so anyway. So I'm not giving anyone ideas. I don't want anyone to lose their minds or lose their livelihoods or anything, but, like, that's where the world is headed. So governments and businesses are gonna have to start doing something anyway. Sorry, I keep ranting today. I told you guys it's gonna be a crazy one because I'm a little tired. I'm more than tired. Manny, thank you so much for your generous super chat and your lovely comment. You are very, very welcome, and it is my absolute pleasure to not only have you, but everybody in the community, and to have so many people that actually want to be part of it. It's amazing. It's such an amazing feeling. Every time I open up my laptop and I look at I don't even have to look at my analytics. Every time I open up my laptop and I see that all these people participate, it's such an amazing feeling. I'm so blessed. I don't even believe in God, but I would imagine this is what it feels like when you feel blessed. I'm enormously grateful. Stephen Kelly says, "Old, I'm 58." Did I say you were old? Maybe someone else did. I'm gonna blame it on someone else. That's the kind of boss I am. I'm gonna assume someone else said it. No, I apologize if I said you were old, Stephen. I normally wouldn't say that except about Disco because he is actually ancient. Sam K asks, "Does Donald Trump and Boris Johnson have the same IQ levels?" Um, I don't know Boris Johnson as well, but from what I hear, yes, and it's not a lot. It's not a high one. Not a high one. Disco, of course, with a celeb sighting. British celeb, one British celeb I never regret meeting was Dame Vera Lynn. Really? I don't know who Vera Lynn is. I like that name Vera, though. I always have. Oh, she was a singer during World War II. Oh, okay. I will listen to some of her stuff. Can't now because I'll get banned or copyrighted. Stephen Kelly says, "Yeah, Sam won." There will be bluebirds over the green hills of Valhalla. I think I know that song. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna try, and I apologize in advance if I butcher this or mispronounce it. Abdirizak Hirsi. Can I visit America without interrogation? I am Dutch of Somali descent. I also have ESTA. I'm not sure what you mean by interrogation. Uh, but if you've already got your, I think the ESTA is the visa waiver, right? Uh, if you've already got, documentation, you'll probably be questioned. But I don't know that you'll have problems getting in. I really don't know, to be honest with you, because I have heard stories that even citizens are getting interrogated slightly, or at least questioned. I don't know about interrogated, questioned. To me, there's a difference. Questions is like being taken into a room and asked questions about your background and stuff, but interrogation is much more aggressive. I know people that have been questioned. My partner's been questioned a few times at the border. It's not as intense, and, usually they just wanna make sure because it's just with, like, one flag somewhere or something. Usually when you're interrogated at the border, it's something pretty severe. Um, but I know a lot of people have been questioned, even citizens lately, and I've heard a lot of stories. It primarily has been from people who were Muslim or Middle Eastern descent, so I'm not sure, because I don't know if it was they were actually Muslim or of Middle Eastern descent, or the officers thought they were. I would be just really, really cautious, and, if you it's difficult in America right now, but, I mean, if you've already got your documentation, then I think you should be okay, as long as you don't have any kind of red flags or any kind of activity in your background. But I'm not a scholar on it. So, um, my my advice, if you're really concerned, would be to call the embassy and ask the question, just to make sure. Um, and just make sure you have all your documentation with you when you travel. Like, don't put it in your checked bag and all that stuff. Carry it with you so that you can answer any questions. That would be my best advice. And best of luck, and I hope you can check in and let us know how it goes. When are you planning on going, if you don't mind me asking? Thank you so much for the super sticker, Neil. I appreciate their generosity. Thank you. I'm scaring you with the pencil? Why? Why? Mick MacArthur, thank you for joining us. Nick says, in 1974, I was employed by Glasgow Corporation Transport. The intention was to work there until the summer of 75, and I stayed until August of 2016, almost 42 years. That was a pretty good gig then, huh? That's cool. That is really cool, Mick. I mean, I would like to be able to find a job where I don't mind going. I just don't think I'm in the mindset any longer. Sam K says Starmer is Trump's lap pet. Here's I don't know UK politics nearly as well, obviously, but here's my take on Starmer at present moment, given the present situation that we have in the world. It's a unique position because he has to work with both the US and the EU in order to keep the UK economy going, from my understanding. And it's a difficult fence to straddle. So I don't know that he is or is not Trump's lapdog, but I know that many world leaders understand, especially this time around, that you get a better result with flattery and kissing Trump's ass. So there's a lot of leaders that seem as though they're bending the knee in a way, but it's difficult to get things done with him otherwise. So, I mean, he's sued as president in this term, um, television stations and cable stations, individuals that have said something nationally against him. Like, he wants to revoke people's American citizenship because they've left America, lived abroad, and are talking shit about him. Like, he's literally that petty. So it's a difficult position for any world leader right now that's dealing with the United States. I hope he's got a plan B. If I was Starmer, I'd have like 17 safety net plans. But you know, I don't know. It could be. I think there's probably worse out there than Starmer, though, right now, anyway. Mick was a bus conductor, which I found out at one of the live streams that through TJ, because her dad was a bus conductor. That's the person who took the tickets and helped the people on and off the bus. And then he was trained to be a driver. Well done, Mick. Double declutching. The fuck is that? I don't know what double declutching is. Semi-automatics with double. What is double declutching, y'all? Sam K says, with Donald Trump running America, American mental health is doing well. Yeah, everything is on decline in America, including mental health. Manny says that he loves working with mind, and the biggest thing he takes away every group is it doesn't matter how big or small of an amount you can help, it's the fact that you feel you've helped them. Wow. So, yeah, our philosophies align a lot on that level, Manny. My thought process is always smile out when you're in public. I'm getting worse at this because you Brits are wearing off on me, but smile at strangers, offer to help if you can, you know, if someone's dropped their groceries or needs help, you know, getting up and down the stairs or something. Give up your seat for someone who obviously needs a seat if there aren't any. Just just be human. Okay? Because you don't know what someone else is going through. You don't know what is happening in their life. You don't know where they're going or where they're coming from, and you don't know anybody else's struggles. And a lot of the ills that are happening in the world today, in the UK and the US and everywhere else in the world, stem in some part from a lack of humanity. A lack of wanting to take care of humanity at the very least. So I think if we all just exercised a little bit more humanity, things would better decisions at least would be made at all levels. In my opinion, maybe I'm being a bit too naively optimistic, but I think that that's what you're doing, Manny, is you get to help people on a micro level, but you never know if that's gonna spin into something else. So even the smallest gestures sometimes make the biggest impact. That's okay, Stephen. Don't worry about it. I just didn't know what it was. I could have looked it up, to be honest with you, and I probably should have, given the circumstances. But I'm really, really sorry to hear that, but I appreciate you sharing your story. Disco says, "Because of being a carer, anyone like my son who special needs services has improved, but I believe things could still be improved a lot, all to do with funding." Yeah. And I don't know the budgetary system here, but I know that there's probably some things they could cut to add funding to these types of services. I know in America there's lots of stuff they can cut. There's actually a congressman in America, because Trump said he wanted to cut $7 trillion from the budget. There's and Elon's Doge thing or whatever was supposed to help all that BS. There's a congressperson in the US, I believe represents New York, not 100% sure, but I believe so, who said, "Okay, here's how I would cut $7 trillion. I wouldn't cut Medicaid. I wouldn't cut all these social programs. This is what I would cut." And it was things like reducing funding to foreign nations, not the aid, but like just we give other nations aid. We just in our normal budgetary package. It was reducing subsidies to things like oil companies and pharmaceutical companies and things like that, where we pay for their research and then we have to pay for the drug on top of it. Obviously, revamping our military industrial complex and our Pentagon. So our Pentagon hasn't passed an audit in like 7 years. Can't account for like 50% of their budget, so I guess they don't need it. Like, he actually had some real, like, tangible things, and no one would listen to him. But he's still fighting. That's what we need. We need people like that. That's a hero in my eyes. People that keep fighting. People that do work like Manny. People that do work like Disco, who are caring for their loved ones that are in needs. People that are have a lifelong dedication to things like making sure the bus services are working. That's important. People rely on that, and people need that to get their own lives, situated and organized. So it's there's everyday heroes everywhere. We need to start acknowledging them. I am going to start acknowledging them. It's actually one of the things on my list. Thank you guys for being part of our everyday hero situation and for all that you do. Not for the channel, just in life, because I know all of you are good people. Mick says, "When I started working in the 70s in Glasgow, all factories and most offices closed down for the last 2 weeks in July for the Glasgow Fair holiday." That sounds amazing. Manny, if you're offering, we will take you. Reach out to me on after this stream. Don't worry about it, Stephen. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story, and all the best to you. And we will see you on Tuesday, hopefully. Enjoy your weekend. I was just thinking, we hit an hour and a half. I was thinking this is going to be like 45 minutes. Oh, she was the one who was singing the song when they on was it VE Day? Was that was her? I think. Oh no, wait. I'm thinking of Know Your Ally. I don't know that I've seen the 14 Hours that Saved Britain. I was thinking of the Ally one. All right. Disco says, "I heard a Canadian was murdered in U.S. prison after being apprehended." I didn't hear that, but honestly, I'm not surprised. They're doing the ICE raids where they're going into areas where there's typically areas of cities that are typically undocumented workers and people who have entered the United States illegally. without proper documentation. Anyways, to round them up, they're going to courthouses where people are going to their court dates to determine their status and arresting them as illegal aliens. And lots of American citizens are getting caught up in those raids as well. And some of them have been deported, even though they're American citizens or have legal status here in legal status in the United States, like permanent residency, or they have, asylum status or something like that. It's a mess, guys. I could do like hours on what's happening, all the little tidbits that are happening in the US. It's a mess right now. Thank God we got out when we did. Seriously. Mick said, they say I enjoyed the work. Fair enough, Mick. You didn't say that. I did put those words in your mouth, and I apologize for that. My assumption was that you didn't mind it because you were there for so long, right? So you found something in it that was at least not horrible. But the people you work with were mostly good guys. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes it is the people that you work with that carry you through. I know, like, nobody's ever 100% enthralled with their job. Even the people that do their job do something they absolutely love, right? Sometimes it grates on you. Sometimes it's too much to handle. That's normal. I know someone in America who is a neonatal nurse, works with premature babies primarily, and loves their job, absolutely adores their job, but admits to me all the time that some days goes home and cries for hours because it's so emotionally taxing. And it's not that they don't love their job and they don't want to go back. It's that you can't, there are just things about your job that you're never going to be able to control that suck. That's obviously an extreme example, but that's the way it is. So sometimes it's the little things like the people you work with that keep you going and keep you there. And if you can find that and find a place where you don't mind working and the people are cool and you can live, right? Then yeah, I would do that job for a long period of time. Why not? I just haven't been able to find it. So but I think it's fantastic that there are people out there that have, and it keeps me hopeful. But I do apologize for putting words in your mouth, Mick. So Mick's going to explain double clutching for me. Is that like double duty, or I thought it was double duty. I thought like or double fisting. I thought it was something that was actually mechanical, but maybe I'm mistaking. Manny says, I find it absolutely sickening that Democratic world leaders have to resort to flattery, bending the knee to do business with an appalling example of a president, if there ever was. I agree with you, Manny. I'm not advocating for it at all. I think that world leaders should start being strong and standing up and just being like, no. But in order to do that, you also have to have contingency plans in place. And I think a lot of the global economy has relied on the United States economy for so long that it's been really difficult, or either they haven't had a plan B or haven't had a backup plan, or just don't have as big a stronghold in any other, sector. So I think that might be part of some world leaders' plans is, for now, this is what we're going to do, while on the back end, we're going to do this, this, and this, so that we don't have to rely on that. That's what I'm hoping is the case. We'll see. It's like Disco said earlier, treat each other how you want to be treated yourself. You can never go wrong with that. Yeah, it's it's cliche, but it is true. And I always try to think of that. I always try to think of, if I was in a situation, how would I want someone to act? Do I always get it right? Of course not. I'm human, and there are times when I'm moody and tired and annoyed, and I don't, I forget to hold the door. Or I don't look someone in the eye, or I might be more curt than friendly. But just try. if you try, you're gonna nail it at least, what, 60, 70% of the time? I think that's an improvement on what we have now for the most part. Double declutching basically makes HGV and buses go into gear easier. Oh, alright. You made it sound like it was complicated. It's not that complicated. I know how a clutch works. I used to drive a stick in America. It's got a third pedal. Interesting. So you use both feet? I would assume? 'Cause why it wouldn't be efficient if you'd have to use one foot for both pedals. That doesn't seem efficient, but I don't know. You did HTGV driving as well, Disco. Not surprising. Thank you so much, Neil. Have a good weekend and try to join us on Tuesday nights if you can. That's 8 PM UK time if you can make it. We'd love to have you. But if not, then whenever we see you again. Until then, I hope you're well and you stay safe. There will be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Okay. I might have your email somewhere, Manny. I think you've sent me an email a few times, but just let me know. Just let me know. We'll touch base outside of this call. We'll talk offline to use some corporate jargon. Yes, please come back, Neil. We'd love to have you again. Mick said, I loved driving a bus, but it was picking up passengers I didn't like. So I don't mind going into work. It's just dealing with all the people that are there once I get there that I mind. Like there's this YouTuber if I watch, who's always like, I just don't like peopling. I don't do peopling very well. That's all. But you're right, Diane. It's a wonderful general public. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if people look, if people's basic needs are met, if people don't have to force themselves to go to work every day, if people's are healthy and their families are healthy and they're safe, they feel comfortable and they're content, they're not going to be miserable bastards when they're out in public. They're not going to be angry, frustrated people that are going to randomly resort to violence or randomly, get angry at a certain group of people or a certain politician representing a certain position or whatever, or even get randomly mad at a bus driver or someone on the train. They're going to be happier in general because their basic needs at the very least are something they don't have to think about. And if people are happier at their core, when their basic needs are met is their core in my reference, then they're naturally happier and more pleasant in general. So they have better relationships. Their mental health is better. They're better workers. They're better partners. They're better parents. They're better community members. It's not rocket science. You build a house from the foundation up. It's not hard. That's how you build a really good society, a really good community, is you start with a foundation. You start with a good, fundamental, solid, firm base, and you just build up from there. And sometimes you build out, sometimes you build up, depending on, what space you have, what country you're in. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that metaphor, but I was thinking in the US, you would probably build out because you have all the space, but in the UK, you'd probably build up because you don't have as much space. Anyways. Oh boy. Mick says there is a guy on YouTube. He's a bus driver in California, and he vlogs about being a bus driver. It's called The Bus Driver's Life. He's worth a look. All right. I don't do random live reacts anymore, Mick, because I want to be respectful to the content creator and get their permission first. But I will reach out to them because that sounds interesting. I would definitely want to see that. Haven't heard from Matt Ben. Haven't heard back from them. And Disco suggested some Jimmy the Giant video, and I haven't heard back from them either. But I'm working on it. And I have a whole list of other people that I had to reach out to from all the suggestions you guys have sent me. I just want to be respectful of other artists, you know. I think that's fair. Anyways, what are y'all doing for dinner tonight? I haven't done any food shopping. So I don't know what we're doing for dinner tonight. I think we have to go over someone's house tonight. Yes, we have to go over my mother-in-law's house. She's giving us a table. So I have a decent kitchen table. So we have to go pick that up, and maybe we'll just maybe we'll do something with her. That'll be nice and easy. Fish and chips. Perfection. Yeah, Marja has a good question. The bus driver's life thing that you mentioned, Mick, is that is he vlogging him driving and you see the stuff on the bus? Is he vlogging people on the bus, or is he vlogging just about his experiences of driving the bus in California? Very curious. I'm curious as well, I should say. Sorry, Marcia, I didn't steal your comment. I'm on fire today with you guys. Okay. Diane says homemade vegetarian chili and brown rice. I haven't had chili in a long time. I have to make it, so I have to figure out. The last time I made it didn't turn out too good, but I think I used the wrong beans because they didn't have beans that I normally use. I think the family got turned off from it. Marge is having roast chicken and salad. Last night I had a grilled chicken Caesar wrap, homemade, and some Walker's potato chips. I'm obsessed with this onion dip that we had in America, and I found the right onion soup to make it with. And I did have carrots in the fridge that I could have cut up to have with it, but I had chips instead. Mick is also having fish and chips. Disco says, I noticed Costco's doing Skippy peanut butter spread now. Not that I like it. Oh, peanut butter spread now. You guys call it peanut butter spread. It's so funny. I've seen Skippy once in a while. I have not seen Jif. I grew up on Jif, which was another peanut butter brand. Skippy was big though. Honestly, your peanut butter is not that bad. It's just that it's like drier. It's not as oily, so it's harder to spread. It tastes pretty much the same though. But it's always nice to have a little bit of comfort from home. So thank you for letting me know. I don't have a Costco card. I didn't know until a couple months ago that Costco was even here in the UK. And I don't know that there's a Costco near me, but I should probably look it up. But we don't really buy in bulk that much. But something like peanut butter, I might. And now that I'm thinking out loud, you guys love seeing me think in real time. And now that we live here, I bet there's some American things that I could get there that would be cheaper than buying them online, and I would have them in bulk. So, yeah, I might have to look into that, actually. Thank you very much, Disco. That was a good idea. Manny says, I have to go now as my iPad only has less than 5% battery left. It's been an absolute blast this live stream. Thank you so much. And everyone, you're all superstars. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Manny. Same to you. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. And thank you for everything that you do with the channel and without. All the best. Mick says that the bus driver one is giving his opinions on bus driving and his dealings with the public. Okay. It sounds interesting. I'm definitely going to look at it. Disco says, I might have a Chippy or a Donner, not sure yet. Depends on my son, Mr. Fussbot. You know what is funny? The last couple times someone suggested kebabs to me, I said no, which is very strange because I do love them. But I've had I think I might have overloaded myself when we first got here and I had them a lot, and they're really heavy. There's a lot of meat and I don't know. I've come off them a little bit, but it might have been my own fault. I'm always up for fish and chips, so I can't ever get enough of them. That's for sure. All the best, Manny. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Sam K says the UK doesn't add corn syrups to its food, unlike America. It craves so much. Yeah, that my partner and I were just talking about that earlier in the week. That because because it's summer break, right? My child went to stay over a friend's house for a couple days, so we had a night that we were just like, you know what? Let's just like order some food and watch some TV that we wouldn't normally watch with her. And I forgot where I was going. Oh, and we ordered some food, but we had to end up ordering from 2 different places because one had some stuff we wanted and the other didn't have it, and vice versa. So we ended up ordering the food. It costs twice as much as it does in America because I always forget. And the portions were smaller. And it was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't worth the money we spent, right? So we were just saying that, like, we're still kind of expecting that corn syrupy addiction thing to be in all of our food still. And so when we think about things like ordering out or having a pizza or something that, would be something we would have had in America, that's what we're thinking of. Like, that's our instinct. And we have to get our head around that it's not like that. And that we also decided financially that we would rather just go to like Asda or something and pick up, even if it's heat up like processed food from there, because it's still healthier for you than what we would have had in America and probably takeaway. Excuse me. And it's cheaper. So we could even order the groceries and have them delivered because they do that now too. So like we're just being silly. We're just falling into bad patterns that we had in America, but it doesn't have the same payout America had. Because our addiction doesn't get fed. I have not had a Cornish pasty yet. Most of them have red meat in them. I think all of them do. It's been a while. And I don't eat red meat. So I don't eat it typically. However, I've made a list of some British foods that I might do a live taste test or like at least a video of me tasting like all of them at once because I haven't tasted them or I haven't tasted them since the first time I was in England. So I was thinking of doing something like that. Your taste buds change over time as well. So it's always worth a shot, right? But Cornish pasties on that list, actually. Have I sorted out having milk delivered yet? No. Do you think that I got on that right away? But I did mention it to the family, and they're actually kind of, how would you guys say it? They are quite keen. And I can't remember. I'm not going to mention it because I can't remember. But there is a video of me cooking something coming out as well. I can't remember the details, so I don't want to speak out of turn. All right, you guys, I'm going to go. It's been almost 2 hours. Disco's got a life, so I have to let him go. And maybe I can squeeze a nap in before dinner if I stop now. All right, Marja, I don't like Marmite. That was also on the list, though, because to be fair, I have not tried it in a really long time. So it is on the list for me to try. I guarantee I'm not going to like it, though, because I don't like pickled stuff, so I'm probably not going to like it. But Sam says, will Trump plug up the Grand Canyon if he tripped in it? He probably would. He'd probably be like, this would be a good golf course. Mandy's cooking course. Oh, it's definitely not some kind of tutorial because I am not a chef by any means. By any means. Oh, good. Disco. Marmee. I knew it. Got you. Special thanks to Disco for joining us on the last minute and moderating and doing an amazing job on his own today. Thank you so much. I really enjoy you guys being here. I fucked that up. Okay. I really appreciate that you guys are here, that you took time out of your Friday afternoons on a whim to spend with me. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. I hope you're not stuck working. But even if you are, I hope that you can find some kind of happiness and fun and joy this weekend. It should be a nice weekend, so maybe you can get out and get some sun. I am gonna have a good power nap. Thank you, Marcia. I hope you guys have a great time. I hope you enjoyed the stream as well. And yeah, we'll see you Tuesday. All the best and love you guys. Thank you as always for everything. Stay safe. Bye.